just for you.
Let them go.
Okay. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf and Rick Warner. When we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. During the Revolutionary War, which nation lent its support to the colonists, which helped turn the tide in their favor against England? Anyone?
History question.
Yes.
Next.
Right. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Mark. Anyone?
That's funny because it does remind me of the segment that we had a few weeks ago where the lady was saying, "Don't go to college."
That's true.
Right? And then of course,
who cares about all those dead people anyway?
Yeah, that doesn't really
Yeah, but
matter.
then see, you don't win trivia contests if you don't study
Was
history.
it France?
Yes, France. Do you remember the movie The Patriot?
No.
With
I just
Mel
want to
Gibson?
to finish on that thought though. So
Yeah.
a few weeks ago we had the lady that says don't go to college,
Yeah.
and then today we have the guy that says don't pay your credit card.
Yeah.
What are we trying to promote here?
the moral
Anarchy.
decay.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
the moral decay of the United States.
We wonder why everything's gone to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, you're really. Now, Rick, after we cut out, we realized that the audience is saying, "Who is this brilliant guy who was talking about real estate?"
Or more importantly, how do we get a hold of him?
Or more importantly, how do we get a hold of him?
So, Rick Warner, Keller Williams Realty. The best way to get a hold of me is always on my cell phone, 415-302-6348. You can text that number as well. If you want to send me an email, rick.warner@sbcglobal.net. And love to have you click on my fan page on Facebook, Rick Warner, Real Estate Broker. Closing in on 1,000 fans. Love to have you be that.
What happens when you hit 1,000?
Lots of, I think
Nothing.
there's balloons. I think there's balloons that fall out of my ceiling. My wife is rigged.
Balloon.
for that,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
so that'll
worth
be an
it.
exciting time.
Good
Okay.
for you, Rick. All right.
I have 3 fans, and 2 of them are me. Okay. Mark. See, you're laughing. Someone laughed.
No, you got
That was fun. I
that's
go
not
ahead.
bad.
Gotta get-
6 months in, you got to get
Well, you're going to love my thoughts for today, too. Okay. Mark, we have an email we received for you. It says, I'm thinking of investing with you, but I wonder, in comparison to other investments, how safe is an investment in a deed trust?
Very good question. How safe is investing in a deed of trust? So just a little bit of background. I'm Mark Hanf. I'm president of Pacific Private Money Loans. We are a Bay Area private money lender, also known as a hard money lender. We make loans mostly to real estate investors. Our business model is we kind of fill the niche that, or fill the void, rather, that the banks created when they left that lending market. Banks since 2008 have largely left the market of lending to real estate investors. They can concentrate on making consumer home loans now. So even if you have good credit and money and you want to buy investment property, particularly if you want to fix and flip property, you go to your bank for a loan, and they once they pick themselves off the floor and stop laughing, they politely tell you, not this week. So, and probably not next week, and probably not next year, and probably not for the next 5 years. So the private lending business has really stepped in, and it's we call ourselves private money lenders as opposed to hard money lenders these days, because it's really not the same business model. 10 years ago, you went to a hard money lender. Usually, it was you needed a second on your house, you were in distress. Loans were really made. They were distressed borrowers, oftentimes distressed property as well. Nowadays, it's just completely different. I make very few loans to distressed borrowers. We make loans on real estate that may be distressed in terms of it may be in need of of remodeling. So there's a lot of property turning over today that hasn't been remodeled in a long time. And so
sometimes just speed. That's the reason why people.
Or speed. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people use private money now. But again, the biggest one being that banks are not an alternative. So if you have money and you want to leverage up and you want to buy Bay Area real estate, which is not cheap, you oftentimes now as an investor will turn to a private money lender. And so now we're getting back to the question, how safe is an investment in trust deed? So our loans that we make to real estate investors secured by Bay Area real estate, those loans are funded by private individuals. We use private individual capital to fund our loans. And so we've collected over the years actually several hundred Bay Area individuals, about close to 150 of whom have invested at least once in one of our loan products. And so now when we make a loan, unlike a bank, we're not making 80% financing, and we don't do seconds for 100% of acquisition price. I mean, we don't 100% financing. not with, regardless of what some real estate courses still tell you today, 100% financing is not the norm. In fact, it's highly unusual.
That would be too risky.
Right, and we're not doing that. So we generally make 70% loans, so 70% of the purchase price, not what the buyer thinks it might be worth after they remodel it. We make loans generally based on the purchase price. So when you're talking 70% of, say, a $500,000 loan, that means that the buyer's still coming in with $150,000 cash to close. I mean, that's real skin in the game. That's real protective equity, what we refer to it in our business.
So you can still have a decline in the real estate
Right.
and do okay. In fact, for the listening audience out there, if you wanted to hear more about, or excuse me, learn more about the safety and comparison, if you go on to thebestofInvesting.com and look under articles, I wrote an article some years back that got published that actually compares rates of return and the risk factors involved with investing in deeds of trust compared to treasury bills and stocks and bonds, et cetera. And so that might be a good tool.
So let's compare it a little bit. So you buy stock. Let's say you buy Apple, or Google or Microsoft or whatever. What you own is basically shares of that company. It's not really, there's not a hard security against it. And what I mean by that is it could go down in value, and oftentimes does. And if you bought Apple at the height, and right now you're sitting on a loss. So so really a stock is a promise to buy. Now it is liquid. Now you can turn around and sell it very quickly.
If it's something like Microsoft, not some penny stock.
Right, exactly. So investing in a deed of trust, it is not considered a liquid investment. So if you're looking for a place to park your money for a high yield, but then you want to be able to get it out quickly, that is not a place for you. And there really isn't a place for you other than a money market account, which, as we know, pays next to nothing. So liquidity, you can't be. It's hard to be liquid and make a nice yield on your savings at the same time. What we offer in deeds of trust is for those people who are looking for alternative investments, and we're not talking super long term, and we're talking 12 to 24 months. These are not, they may not be liquid, but these are loans that generally are intended to be paid off pretty quickly. So what kind of security do you have? If you fund a 70% purchase loan on a property in the Bay Area, you get a lender's title policy ensuring your first position lien. You get hazard insurance with your name on it in case the place burns down. You are paid first up to your loan amount. And then we've got the protective equity in the property itself. So if real estate values decline and something happens and you need to foreclose on the property, there's still a very good likelihood that you're going to get all of your money back. So,
well, I think it's kind of interesting. You mentioned about like buying Microsoft or Apple, and in theory, as compared to a deed of trust, if a deed of trust, if you don't get paid, you're going to foreclose. Potentially, you can actually make a lot more money. That doesn't really happen if you buy Microsoft and it goes down in value.
Right, you don't have that kind of recourse.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so there are opportunities, and that's not to say that people haven't lost money in deeds of trust. They certainly did when the market turned in 07 and 08. But we're talking about if you believe, like we do, that real estate has corrected, it is beginning to go back up in value again. Although some have been, some people seem to think we're in a mini bubble. I don't think we are, particularly since real estate prices still in many markets have not returned to the replacement cost. Because
that's a very important part.
So that's a very important part. That in many markets, this real estate is still selling below replacement cost. So we've got pretty much a thriving real estate market right now. And
well, wait, one quick thing when you mentioned about the replacement, that will curtail new construction because developers are not going to build if they can't sell for at least what they can.
And so the market's correcting itself. The market's correcting itself. The prices, almost by definition, will continue to increase in all markets until it at least is equal to replacement cost. Because until then, no more, new building is going to be low, if any. Contractors aren't going to build new homes and lose money on them. So really, I always thought that the real estate market would snap back initially, maybe 20-25%, like we're seeing now in the last 12 months, largely because of that kind of the rubber band effect of going from below replacement cost to at least meeting replacement cost. what's it going to do after that remains to be seen. So I do think that all this talk about a bubble is a little bit premature, and of course it's just good media.
Okay. Thank you very much. And how do people get a hold of you if they want more information on deeds of trust?
They can call our office. We're in the Bay Area. Our phone number is 415-883-2150. That's 415-883-2150. And our website is pacificprivatemoney.com.
And last week we had a special trivia contest. What was the highest priority that women don't tell their mates? And the answer was the number of shoes they own. And that was for the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel, which celebrates its 15-year partnership with the Pageant of the Masters and Festival of Arts for the summer of 2013. Call the Ritz-Carlton Laguna Niguel at 800-241-3333 and ask about the Behind the Velvet Rope experience, which includes accommodations, preferred seating, and backstage tour of the Pageant of Masters. That's 800-241-3333 or go to ritzcarlton.com/Laguna Pageant. I don't know if you've ever visited there, but it is a very fancy, beautiful hotel.
Sounds killer.
Okay, we are going to cut to our final trivia question here. Although only 5 people died in the After only 5 people died when British soldiers fired upon a crowd in this 1770 event, this major event's name sounded much worse. What was the name given to this event? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Although only 5 people died when the British soldiers fired upon a crowd in this 1770 event, this major event's name sounded much worse. What was the name given to this event? Make sure to include your name, your email address, speak slowly, spell out your email your email one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because the Best of Investing is going to be coming right back with our answers. Okay. Figure out how much time we got.
That mask was